Hello there, and welcome to Alvarez's Diecast Customs. Now today we're going to be working on this Hot Wheels 1963 Ford Mustang concept. It's a pretty cool looking car, pretty play worn on this one though, a few chips and scratches all over it. It's definitely seen better days. Anyway, let's just take a closer look at it. Yeah, really liking this. Really like the style of it, the sort of long front nose and the long bonnet there in the boot. Quite like the headlights as well, the way they sort of scoop under. I've already taken the time to drill the posts out on this one. Start off with a 2mm drill bit, work up to a 5mm to remove the main piece of the head off, and then just use these 5mm self-tapping screws to screw the base back on. Comes off very easily. Chrome base. Quite a nice little interior on this one as well. Very nicely detailed. The dashboard sort of flips up on that extra bit there. There's our window piece. A bit foggy and scratched up. Just be removing these wheels and axles off of this base. I like to use these side cutters just to remove the little teeth that hold them on. Very simple procedure just to remove those. Anyway, let's get on with stripping this paint off of that body. And also, we'll get some new wheels for that. We won't be keeping them ones. So we've gone to see our goddess, Super Pachaco, and get some wheels sorted out for us. Give her these old ones. Nice, what's that? Let's take a closer look at them. Nice. Ah, very cool. Some sort of red lined real riders for that. These would go great. So I've already stripped the paint off of this one, put it in a pot paint stripper for about an hour, then run it under a tap with an old toothbrush and scrub the remaining bits of the paint off. You're left with that as our base. Just going to be trying to test fit these wheels on there. As they are, the axles are just too short, they don't actually slot in. So I'm going to have to make up some axle tubes for these wheels. Just use another pair of side cutters and we'll just cut the original axles in half. I like to hold my hands over it while clipping them, otherwise they just fly around the room and you never find the bits again. In order to make the tubes, I'll just be using this brass rod. As you can see, the original axles just slot straight into them. What I'll be doing is just cutting it to size and then popping a bit of glue into them and then just slot them in. It's a nice snug fit. Brass tube in itself, it cuts very easily just using a sharp scalpel. Just place it onto the cutting mat and rock the scalpel back and forth over it a couple of times and it cuts straight in half. It's a very clean cut as well. Doesn't crush it like it would if you were to use a side cutter. There you go, you can see what you get when you go with that. Perfect spacing just for the chassis. I've just gone ahead and glued those already. I just used some thick gel type super glue, place it into the holes. I'll just be using this fine diamond file to just clean up some of the edges on this body. It's overall a pretty good casting, but there was some rough spots around it, so I just always like to go cleaning them up on my bodies. It always gives a really good finish in the end of it, and you just clean up the lines and sharpen them all up. So yeah, just giving all of it some attention. Every edge that's you can see, I went over them. And that's what we're left with after all that filing. It's coming together quite nicely already with those wheels. So we can get on with painting that now. So I went ahead and did this metallic red. It's one of the favourite colours that I've got out of my selections. I thought it would go well with the wheels as well. I also went over the interior in some black paint. This was straight out of a spray can. Also the body paint was straight out of a spray can, but I initially primered it using some generic sort of grey primer straight out of a spray can, and then went over the red paint, which is incidentally a Ford coloured paint as well. I think it was called Pepper Red. Just a really nice colour, one of my favourites. So I'll just be picking out some of the details on this chassis piece, just using some silver paint, just going over the grills and the headlights and the exhaust pipes on here. Also using this silver Sharpie to pick out some of the chassis details. Just be picking out these bottom bits here, like the exhausts going across the bottom, and some of the engine details and suspension struts and things like that. And for the interior, I'll just be picking out the inserts on these seats in red. There's that, we'll let that dry off. And there's that chassis piece, as you can see, after using the silver Sharpie. Now on the tail lights, I like to use this Tamiya clear red. I initially went over them with the silver Sharpie as well, just to give them a bit of depth, and then just use the clear red over the top. Really sort of sets them apart from the body colour there. Gives a pretty good effect on them. Now on the chassis, I'll just be using some extra detailing with this Citadel Known Oil. It's essentially just a black wash, just going over everything on it. Be picking it all out. Finds all the details of this. Now we've gone ahead and already clear coated over this one. Just use a urethane based clear coat straight out of the spray can. Did a couple of coats on it. There's our window piece. Didn't see much of that in the build, but I basically just sort of polished it down quickly, then went over with some clear smoke from Tamiya, and then a bit of detailing with the silver Sharpie. I went with the clear smoke because I wasn't too keen on the lightness or how the sort of very bright window stood out compared to the rest of the body, so I needed to darken it a little bit with the smoke colour. Just pop it all back together, pop those screws in, get it all tightened up nicely. There we go. Let's have a look at what we started with. Pretty cool looking car, but very play worn, scuffed up and scratched. A bit rusty on the wheels. But yeah, a lot of potential with this one. I really like the way it sat and the length of the body. Really good stuff. Anyway, this is what we ended up with. My interpretation of that one. It's a really good looking car now. A lovely paint job. I always love using this red paint. As I said, it's one of my favourites. Just comes out beautiful. You'll also see I did some extra detailing on the body there, especially in the panel lines, which I just used the Citadel Known Oil with a fine brush and just ran it through the panel lines there. It's pretty good, gives some good depth. The interior, as you can see, also got a Known Oil wash and a little extra detailing on the steering wheel and some dashboard details. Pretty simple overall. Very quick and easy build, but it just come together, just everything went right on it. It's got a really good look to it. very pleased with this one. Another great one to add to my collection. Let me know down in the comments what you thought of it. Always happy to hear your opinions. There's some more closer shots of it as well to go along with it. I really do like how that smoked glass came out. Definitely ties it in much better than the normal sort of clear window piece it came with. So let's go take a look at our goddess Super Pachaka and see what she's got for us next time. Ah, what's that? Let's take a closer look. Nice. It's a Hot Wheels Toyota 2000 GT. Really love these cars. Such a good style to them. Very cool. Know what we can do with that one next time. So this has been Alvarez's Diecast Customs. I do hope you have enjoyed watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.